Hi guys, happy Thursday. I'm so sorry that I am not there yet again, but I will be there tomorrow. But we still need to do today's lesson. So please open up your packets to page 14. Pause if you need to. And let's get started on our notes. All right. So factoring a difference of squares. So this is another form of factoring. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you have an actual difference of squares. So there must be a subtraction sign, and you can square root both terms. So the first term has to be a perfect square, and the second term has to be a perfect square. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to use the following rule to factor. So let me get my pen working here. So when you go to factor, a difference of squares looks very similar to this. Right, we have a term at the beginning, we're going to have a minus in the middle, we're going to have a second perfect square here. The way this gets broken up, it gets broken up into two parentheses, and your A's get split into both. You have a plus in the middle of one of them, and you have a minus in the middle of the second one. 1 plus, 1 minus. It does not matter which order it is. You could have a minus in the first, plus in the second. And then your B gets split up as well. Okay? There you go. So that is your difference of squares. So let's look at some example problems here. So again, the first thing that we look for is, are each terms a perfect square? So we look right here. X squared is a perfect square because x times x gives you x squared. The second thing we look for is the minus. There is a minus, so we can go ahead and that works for us, difference of squares. And then we look at our second term here. Make sure that that is a perfect square. Now remember, perfect square is going to be any number that, hold on. So any number that there's a number times itself that gives you that. So like, for instance, 81 is a perfect square because 9 times 9 is 81. All right? So we can say, yes, this is a difference of squares. So we're going to break this down into two parentheses. Okay? Well, we take x squared and we find the square root. What times what gives us x squared? Well, x times x gives us x squared. Like I said in step 2, we need a plus in the middle and a minus in the middle of the other one. And then we look at our second term here. We say, what is the square root of 81, or what number times itself gives us that number? Well, that's going to be 9. Now, if we want to check our work, we can go back and double check that we did this correctly. We'll go ahead and multiply out here. X times x gives us x squared. X times negative 9 gives us negative 9x. 9 times x gives us 9x. And then 9 times negative 9 gives us negative 81. When we go ahead and we combine our like terms, those middle terms cancel out. So it leaves us with x squared minus 81, which is what we started with. So we factored it correctly. All right. Let's go ahead and look at B. Let's double check that it is a difference of squares. X squared is a perfect square. We have a minus. 49 is a perfect square. All right, so let's go ahead and break these apart. Two parentheses. Our x squared gets split up. X times x gives us the x squared. We need a plus. We need a minus. And then we need the square root of 49, or what number times itself gives you 49? Well, that is 7. 7 times 7 gives you 49. Now that is completely factored. This would be your answer. Okay? All right, let's see what else we got going on here. C. All right, so your first step is always to look for a greatest common factor. So we look at 9 and 100 and see if there's any number that we can take out of 9 and 100. So let's see, my factors of 9 would be 1 and 9. I can't take a 9 out of 100, or 3 and 3, and I can't take a 3 out of 100. Okay, so I can't factor out a greatest common factor. I look and see, is 9 a perfect square? 9 is a perfect square. 3 times 3 gives me 9. X squared is a perfect square. X times x gives me x squared. I have a minus, and then 10 times 10 gives me 100. Awesome. This is officially a difference of squares. We can go ahead and factor it. All right, so we break out our two parentheses. We start over here at the 9. Again, what number times itself gives you 9? 3 times 3 gives you 9. Okay, so we have to make sure we split it up in both of those parentheses. Then we need to do our x squared. X times x gives us x squared, so we have to split that up. We need a plus in the middle of one and a minus in the middle of the other one. And then we go ahead and break down 100. What number times itself gives you 100? Well, 10 times 10 gives you 100. There you go. That is completely factored. All right, let's look at D, another example here. We go ahead and check this out. 16 is a perfect square. X squared is a perfect square. Minus. And 121 is a perfect square because it is 11 times 11. All right, let's break this down. 16, we take the square root of 16, and that's going to give us 4 and 4. So if you don't know your perfect squares by heart, that's perfectly fine. Take whatever number it is, put it in your calculator, do the square root of that number, and if it comes out to a whole number, it is a perfect square, okay? All right, so we've got 4 broken down. We're going to take our x and break that down. X times x gives us x squared. We need a plus and then a minus, and then we go ahead and find the square root of 121. Well, the square root of 121 is 11, so we have 11 in both spots here. Fabulous. That is our final answer. That has been completely factored. All right, let's look at our next example. That kind of went kind of fast there. Come back here. Oh my goodness. Okay, so again, greatest common factor first. So we look at 2 and 72. What number can we take out of a 2 and a 72? Well, I told you guys, always try that smaller number. And you can take a 2 out of both 2 and 72. So let's go ahead and factor that out. Take and divide everything by 2. That's going to give us 2 on the outside, x squared minus 72 divided by 2 is 36. Okay, but we're not going to stop there because we still need to look inside of our parentheses and see if that is a difference of squares. So x squared is a perfect square. We have a minus, and 36 is a perfect square as well. So we're going to go ahead and break down our parentheses even farther because it is a difference of squares. Our 2 is going to come down with us. Stay on the outside. We're going to break down our x squared. Well, x times x gives us the x squared. We need a plus, and we need, be a plus. And we need a minus. And then the square root of 36 is 36. That is correct. All right. So this right here is your final fully factored answer. All right. So let's try it one more time here. We're going to look for our greatest common factor. We've got 8 and 32. We look at our lowest number here. Can we take an 8 out of both of those? Do not mind my crazy dogs barking. Yes, we can take an 8 out of it. So let's go here. We're going to take an 8 out. Divide everything by 8. That's going to give us an 8 on the outside. Leaves me with x squared minus 4. Okay, perfect. Now we look inside of our parentheses. X squared is a perfect square. There is a minus. And there is a 4. 4 is a perfect square. Excellent. We have a difference of squares. Okay, let's break it down. 8 comes with us. We get our 2 parentheses going here. X gets broken down into both parentheses. We need a plus. We need a minus. And the square root of 4 is 2. That is correct for your final answer here. Awesome. Okay, now, if for instance you get to a problem and you have something like this, x squared plus 4, remember you have to go through your steps first. X squared is a perfect square, but we have a plus in the middle. Because of this plus, it is not a difference of squares. You would say that this is prime. It is not factorable, okay? So that's a huge thing. Make sure you're looking for that minus in the middle. All right, you guys are going to go ahead to page 15. This is what I want you guys to work on for the rest of class. So you have 8 problems to work on, and we will check those tomorrow when we come into class. All right, thank you guys. Have a fabulous day. Thank you for your patience. Can't wait to see you guys. Bye.